So it's been 1 year since Hypixel's controversial arcade update. A year later, I had a question in mind. Did Hypixel really save arcade? Well, I asked over 60 arcade mains, and here's what I found. One year ago today, on September 14th, 2023, Hypixel completely redesigned the arcade lobby. The old arcade lobby originally had NPCs for every arcade game, but with the new lobby, only 7 NPCs stayed. Hypixel didn't delete any games, they just only featured 7 at a time. So how did it work? Well, Hypixel kept 3 permanently featured games, Zombies, Dropper, and Party Games, their 3 most popular arcade games. 3 NPCs rotate through a list of medium popularity games, featuring 3 times a week, and the last NPC on the very left rotates through a list of dead games, featuring once every 9 days. Now this might seem like the nail in the coffin for arcade games, and you wouldn't be completely wrong. I asked the arcade community to rate the arcade update on a scale from 1 to 5, and although the community absolutely hated the update at first, it seems like some people are now liking it, although the reception is still mostly negative. While looking at which games were the most affected, the medium popularity games were actually hit the hardest. For the dead games, the argument can be made that at least once every 9 days, the game is guaranteed to queue most of the day, which is why the second most popular answer was mostly positive. Arcade communities seem to also have been affected pretty harshly, with medium games being hit the hardest again, while permanently featured games stayed pretty unaffected. Overall, while looking at the answers, I pinpointed 3 main complaints that arcade mains had. First of all, while it's nice that dead games are guaranteed to queue on some days, 9 days is way too long of a wait, especially since these games have actual communities. Second of all, the All Games NPC feels deliberately hidden. New Hypixel players still always ask in chat, where did Blocking Dead go? Where did Pixel Party go? And finally, games are empty out of rotation and struggle to start, even with lobby messages. So to find solutions to these problems, I pinpointed 2 main suggestions made by arcade mains. The first is to have an extra NPC so that the dead games could rotate once every 4 to 5 days instead of once every 9 days. Adding 1 NPC probably wouldn't overwhelm the lobby, and a guaranteed queue every 4 to 5 days is a lot more fair than once every 9 days. The second, which is the most common suggestion, was to make the All Games NPC way more visible, and 79% of people agree with this. This could be done by moving the All Games NPC to the very center, like where this NPC is. I have a third suggestion myself, which is to upgrade the queue system even more. With the arcade lobby update, Hypixel also improved queues, lowering quick start requirements across many games. Hole in the Wall, for example, now only needed 9 players to quick start instead of 12. And while that was a great change, thanks Hypixel, some other games like Dropper have a queue system that killed the game. It stays on waiting until 10 players join the game, and then starts counting down. But if the player count dips below 10 again, the countdown cancels and the game does not start. I mean, Dropper does not need 10 players to start, it can absolutely start with 8. My point is, make the Dropper queue system like Party Games or like Hole in the Wall. There are so many small changes that Hypixel could make that would greatly benefit the arcade community, even just fixing queues. While the arcade lobby update was and still is controversial, I do want to end this by saying that most arcade mains, including myself, really like this new lobby. So, thank you Hypixel.